Thank you for joining me on We Are Not Alone. I'm Lou Rosano, your host on this 12-part series as we seriously investigate the UFO phenomenon and the possibility that highly technologically advanced extraterrestrial biological entities have been visiting us, observing us, and in some cases interacting directly with us. In last week's show, we looked at the philosophical implications of UFOs and of their occupants and of their effects on society and established religion. On this week's show, we're going to take a look at one instance where belief in extraterrestrials has become a religion unto itself, and which has taken on a cult-like character in the sense that its leader, a man who calls himself Rael, or is known as Rael, is thought of as the sole ambassador to planet Earth by a superior race of extraterrestrials who are allegedly responsible for the existence of the human race. With me today to discuss this are two representatives of what is called the U.S. Raelian movement, although it is also worldwide. Donna Newman, the national guide and who's also a priest in the U.S. Raelian movement, and Marie-Hélène Parent, a guide and priest of the Raelian movement also. Thanks for being here with me today on We Are Not Alone. Appreciate your being here. Donna, let me start with you. Before I ask you any of my questions, could you tell me and the viewers generally what the Raelian movement is all about?
Yes, this is a movement that was started back in 1973 due to the encounter that Rael had with an extraterrestrial that came to this planet to give him a specific message. And that message was that they were known as the Elohim, and on their planet they had discovered how to synthesize genetically engineered DNA to create life. And they came to this planet and created all life as we know it. And the mission that Rael has is to spread this message throughout the world so that people can truly understand who they are and where we come from and where we're going as a civilization. And encompassed in that, of course, is a wonderful philosophy, because the creators that created us, they know how we work. They know how we tick, so to speak. And so they've given Rael techniques of meditation that he teaches us on how to live our lives, that we can be a truly fully developed human being to our greatest potential. So that's in a nutshell.
Okay, and okay, that kind of wraps it up in a nutshell. You're right. One major question which I've had for some time about the Raelian movement, my initial introduction to your movement was a very brief one. I happened to wander into one of your meetings about 5 or 6 years ago, and that was the first time I ever heard of the Raelian movement. And one of the questions that I've had since that time, and which I actually heard repeated by one of the people about a month ago when you had your meeting back in January, asked the same question that I had in the back of my mind, and I almost asked it myself, and that was, why Rael? Why, what is it about Rael that somehow influenced the extraterrestrials, or Elohim as you refer to them, to select Rael over any other humans that they might have selected?
I'll let Marie-Hélène answer that.
Yes, yes, sure. They needed somebody, one person, so if it would be somebody else, you would ask why again. It has to be somebody. And why him? He was created for that mission, like Jesus was, because they sent all the prophets. The Elohim, that's how they're called, those extraterrestrial, means those who came from the sky. So they came here to create us and to guide us for this age where we are now, the age of the apocalypse, the revelation, where everything can be revealed to us scientifically, because we can understand. In order to prepare us to reach that age, they sent all the prophets. And at this age, they said they would send their last prophet, and they did. But Rael is prepared for this mission because he's the son of one of them and an earthly woman, like Jesus was.
I was going to ask you about
And
that.
so it's not, they didn't just pick him up like this, he was prepared for this mission. And the messenger, we really love Rael, and he's the most important person on this planet, but the most important is the messages that he brings. In the time of Jesus, mistake was done that Jesus was saying a wonderful message, but a lot of people kept their eyes on his finger when he was showing the direction where to go, but people stopped on his finger instead of looking further. And that's what the message is all about, is to look what are the messages. The messenger is very important, but the messages are even more important because they come from them. And it's our history, it's where we come from, it's the truth about us. And that's what is important.
Yeah, actually, you made mention of a few things that I had questions about. I read through some of your literature, which was given to me by one of your representatives at the meeting I attended last month, and I read through it, and according to your beliefs, and this is something you just mentioned, but you say that all of the great prophets, such as, or according to your literature, which I'm sure you're supporting, all the great prophets such as Buddha, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad were all specially chosen and educated by the Elohim, or extraterrestrials who allegedly created us, according to your belief system. Does that mean that you believe that Rael is on the same level with those great prophets?
Yes, oh yes. Is the last prophet of they sent about 40 prophets through the years since they created us to help us. And he's the last one that they send before they come back. Because that's our mission is, and Rael's mission and all the Raelians' mission is to spread the message through the planet, but to reach the goal, our ultimate goal is to build an embassy to welcome them. And I was looking at the picture you showed before we started to talk. We saw crop circles. And one of the crop circles that was done is the exact blueprint of the embassy that's going to be built for them to come. That was done on purpose of to show the blueprint how the embassy should look like and how the size of it. So we have picture of the embassy that it's an exact.
I think there's a picture in
yes,
this
yes.
book.
And
Yeah, now that's interesting because I was going to ask you about, I know that we part ways when it comes to abduction phenomena, and I may touch upon that later, but crop circles, so crop circles you do believe are being done
yes,
by
maybe not all of them. Maybe
Elohim, some of them.
people try to do
no, there's
some
some
on
people
their
that are
own,
hoaxing
but
too.
yes, but there is few who are done by them, and one in particular was the blueprint of the embassy where we want to welcome them before the year 2035.
2035.
Yes.
Now that's something I didn't read in your literature, and I'm not aware of. What does that year symbolize? What will happen in the year 2035?
It's not that something is going to happen in that year,
Oh.
but it's going to be before that.
Oh, I see.
So it might be in 10 years. It depends how we get prepared,
I see.
how the humanity will
Yeah.
Will be prepared. That's the message is there to prepare humanity on their welcoming, because that's going to be a shock. It's going to be a
So
big
is
shock.
that the year that they're supposed to manifest
There is
land?
we don't know the year,
I see.
but it's going to be before that
I
year.
see. Between now and the year 2035.
As soon as possible.
Okay, whenever I
I
hear whenever I hear people mention a year, I'm always wondering if that's supposed to be the year. You know, I just had a show last week where I talked about what if they land tomorrow on the proverbial White House lawn, and I'm wondering if I have to wait till the year 2035 to see this. I do believe I will see this within my lifetime.
You will.
So
It's up to us as a humanity. They'll come back as quick as we're ready to accept them to come back. That's kind of like a cutoff date, so to speak.
I
They
see. So they've sort of said, we'd like you to have it done by then.
Yes.
Okay.
But it could be next week if we were ready,
Right.
as a civilization. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen next week, so don't worry.
Why do the Elohim, I'll direct this at either of you, why do the Elohim need an embassy? Why do they need an embassy? And an ambassador, obviously, but why do they need an embassy? I mean, they're as evolved and powerful as they are. And
Well, it's like, for instance, let's put this in an analogy point of view. These were the people that created us, and they want to be invited to come back here. It's like, I could drop into your house and invite myself in, but that wouldn't be very polite, would it? But if you invited me to come to your house and have a dinner or a party,
I see.
that would be a lot more polite, I think, don't you think?
Sure.
So they are the most
I hate when
important.
people drop in by surprise anyway.
These people are the most important people to us in the universe. They're our creators, and we should treat them with respect. And that's one of the values that we need to learn as a civilization. If you read in the literature that you have, the Raelian movement has a set of values that we follow in our philosophy, and respect is one of the top values. And we respect the Elohim. They deserve to have a place that they can come, and it's their own. Just like if we're in Russia, we have an embassy, the Russians have an embassy in the United States, that is their place, it's extraterritorial. We need that for the Elohim. That's what they requested, and that's why.
Okay, well, that makes a certain amount of sense, I suppose. According to your literature, which I picked up at your conference in January, and you did refer to this before, but I'd like to bring it out a little bit more depth. Raoul's mother was abducted on December 25th, Christmas Day, interestingly, of the year 1945, and taken inside a UFO and inseminated by the Elohim. So that does imply that Raoul is half human, half alien, I would imagine. There's almost a parallel there with a virgin birth to some degree, I suppose. But does that imply, so you do believe he's half,
Yes,
genetically half alien?
The same thing that happened for Jesus happened to Rael, and the woman was, that's the whole mystery of the Virgin Mary. It's because they don't know what that baby's coming from, and but it was insemination, and it's not written that she was abducted on their UFO. I don't know how they did it. It's not.
Because it does sound like an abduction.
But we don't know. It's not said in the book that how they did it. I'm sure they did it in a very respectful way and the most gentle way, so it would be good
A gentle
for,
abduction.
because they're so full of love, you know, and I don't think they would do something to hurt any human being on this planet.
Well, see, that brings up an important point, and this again came up at the meeting in my mind, and I think somebody else did make the same point, and that is, you basically, bottom line is, you don't believe that the Greys and the other alien races that thousands of people all over the planet at this point have been reporting with startling similarity of detail. You do not believe that they exist, that they are here from other planets, perhaps different ones of the Elohim, also visiting us and doing whatever they're doing, abducting people or making crop circles, whatever. You don't believe this?
Like we were saying at the lecture last month, the only extraterrestrial that can come here is the Elohim, because we are like a colony for them. We are their babies, and they protect us. So if another